Hey everybody, welcome back. This video today is going to be about Alliance Showdown. I thought about it for a little bit and I realized that a lot of the people that follow me are on the new server. So before this event comes out on the new server, I figured let me just kind of get everyone up to date with how it works and the do's and the don'ts of it. That way, when it does eventually come out, everyone knows what to do because it's a really important event. You get a lot of great rewards as long as your client essentially all participate and do the right quest the right way. So let's go ahead and get into it. So essentially, the way Alliance Showdown works is you're going to have a bunch of different quests that you can essentially complete for points. So probably the most important thing to know about this one is that the first quest that shows up here with the little star on it, those are your own personal quests. So you can refresh those as often as you like. I'm keeping this one on there because as soon as I finish this quest, I'm probably going to take it one more time. And it's going to be worth 240 points. So when you go into it, it tells you the description of what the purpose of the quest is going to be. So the demand is going to be 20 days worth of speed ups. You can use the generic speed up or the specific speed up for training, but it has to be 20 days worth. So of course, before I take this, I would go in to my bag, go over to speeds, hit the little graph right on the top, and this is going to break down like what I have in my inventory. So I have 46 days worth of generic speed ups, and then for training I only have 16 hours, but again, you can use your generic speed ups to still complete the quest. So I'm going to do those two because it's going to give me 240 points per quest. Some of these quests are going to be a little bit different. It looks like everyone just refreshed them, but it might be like get upgrade material, meaning like gear material, and it'll say like a million points worth. Doesn't mean you have to get like actual million individual units. It just means collective points. So for example, like a T5 upgrade material component might be worth like 3,000 points. I'm just giving an example since I can't really look at it here right now. But the most important thing is once you take a task, you do not want to discard it because you only get a specific amount of tries. So if you look at here towards the right, it tells you, so I'm in 9 of 10 so far. This person is 10 of 10. They've completed all 10 quests. This one is 7 out of 8. But let's go through it. We'll probably run into someone who actually didn't actually complete one. So I'll give you an example here. So like Thailand, for example, is 6 out of 8. He probably took something and wasn't able to complete one, or probably had to back out of a challenge. That's less cumulative. Oh my god, I can't even say the word. That's less points that you can accumulate overall because you discarded one of those challenges. So to prevent that from happening, it makes way more sense to make sure that you are. It makes way more sense to make sure that you can complete the quest before you actually take it. Now, some people tend to scramble, like, oh, I got to take this before someone else does. I would recommend you not to do it. Make sure that you can definitely complete it before you take it, because some alliances are tougher than others. So this is a very important event because of the amount of rewards that you can essentially get. So you can see here, you'll be able to pick one of each category. So for people who are like free to play, this is very important to them because this is how they're going to get the majority of their upgrade materials that they're going to need in order for them to upgrade specific stats or their honor or whatever the case may be. but you do get a healthy amount of diamonds. I think this one might be 80,000 in total. The last one was 60,000, so it might be somewhere up there. But yeah, so this is essentially the basic breakdown. It's over the course of a week, so of course, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So some people will complete all of the challenges right, in the first couple days. You don't need to if you don't want to. You can stretch it out a little bit further. Our alliance is pretty active, so it looks like we're number 8 so far, but we're pretty much right in there as far as like competition goes. But yeah, so I mean, this is essentially how this breakdown works. So once Alliance Showdown gets rolled out in your particular state, or if it already started, hopefully this kind of gives you a pretty good idea on how to how to essentially go about it. Oh, you know what? Before you actually get to the Showdown event, like if you know it's coming in advance, one of the great things that you can do, whether you started a week before or 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, let's go back over here. You can essentially start to rack up on speed ups. So let's go right into that. I think it'll be a pretty good way to kind of explain this. So when you do like these events, for example, when you go to exchange, every day you'll be able to rack up on 10 of these training speed ups. You can do building speed ups, you can do research speed ups, and you can also do the generic speed ups. Out of everything in here, besides collecting the harvester shards, it would make a lot of sense to every day start racking up on these. You can also rack up on the 8-hour speed up, and this way, when the event finally comes out, you can essentially stock up on those 240 quests that are going to require 20-day speed ups, or 20 days worth of speed ups. This way, let's say if you have enough to do 5 of those, for example, that's gonna set you pretty nice as far as like accumulated points. But of course, instead of you being able to get like your harvester shards or something else, you're essentially just focusing on this one. Since the generic speed ups work with the training quests, it also works with the building quests as well as the research quests. I would focus on this one first and then deal with whatever second one you want to go with. In my opinion, it would make sense to do the generic and then the speed up, and then building if you're into building, if you're at a specific level where you're still doing a lot of that. Just because another central goal, especially like for us as a guild, we are trying to focus on getting everyone to essentially build out their troops, meaning they're like T1 and T6 troops. So personally, what I'm doing here, instead of using this to make more T11s, I'm actually building out my T6s. The idea is to have a few million worth of T6 troops, and for everything else, I'm starting to essentially mass produce T1s. So while this event is, while this quest event is on, I'm essentially trying to focus on making just pure T6s. That way I can get more troops, more troops, and essentially utilize the speed ups a little bit. In my opinion, it's going to be a little bit better because, of course, I can just produce the T11s, but I'm going to use a lot of those speed ups to essentially get less troops. Whereas if I go with the T6s, it only takes like 6 hours to produce 1,800 troops. So I can do more of those and essentially get more units out of it. Again, the idea is to try to get like 1 million troops. So I definitely want to do more than 1 million for the T6s, just for like certain events like Stump and things like that. just because of where my stats are, my T6 is essentially punch a punch. They pack a really big punch. They probably hit as hard as like T10s, but yeah. But this is just, you know, a rough idea to try to kind of get you guys started, start racking up on them. And that way, once the event rolls out, you guys are prepared for it, and you'll be ready to take advantage of it. Well, all right. Hopefully, all of this makes sense. Kind of made this video on a whim, so I didn't necessarily prepare for it, but hopefully, all the information was understood. All right. Till next time, guys.